Right, Ryan, I'm looking for the new board. Okay. Can you help me out?
Yeah,
What
we
are we
definitely
doing?
can.
Yep.
How long have you been surfing for, Sean?
About 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah, pretty consistently for 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a few times a week you go?
Yeah. It varies sort of between 1 to 2 times a week. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go fairly consistently.
Yep.
Do you know how much you're weighing at the moment or anything?
Yeah, I'm coming in about 93 keys.
90?
Yeah.
Well, we got some scales, so we'll
Yep.
just
Let's check me
jump on
on.
here and see.
No. I've already had breakfast, so just forgive me.
So you could be a little bit more.
94.
Yeah.
All right.
Scales.
Close?
Scales maybe off by one.
Oh, yeah. You're just being nice to me.
94.
Yep.
Yeah, so you're 94.
Yep.
About 6.
Yeah, 6-0.
One.
No, I'm
Yeah,
6-0.
6-0.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I appreciate that, but yeah.
Yep, so that 6-0, surf 3, roughly 3-ish, 2 to 4-ish times a week.
Yep.
Been surfing for 4 years.
Yep.
Where do you mainly surf?
Like the board or
No,
the
like
conditions?
conditions.
Oh, so almost always sunny coast.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do, like if there's a bit of a southerly coming in on the swell, I'll head down the Gold Coast. But predominantly I come at the sunny coast.
Yeah.
I love to hit the point breaks where I can.
Yep.
But sometimes it's just not working. I've got to hit a beachy.
Yeah,
So
sweet.
it's a combo of beachies and point breaks.
Yeah, so a
Yep.
bit of sort of like an everyday-ish
Yep.
kind of board.
A daily driver
something,
is what I'm
yeah.
looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you currently been riding?
Yeah, so the board I've been riding the most lately is a Tomo Evo.
Yep.
All right. So initially I had it at 510.
Yeah.
And that was up around 39 liters, and it was a dream to paddle in.
Yep.
But then it's not as responsive underfoot as I want.
Yeah, so
And
they've got quite a wide tail.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, wide tail's great for getting in early. A lot of stability in there.
Yeah.
But if you want to start turning more
Yep.
and progressing your surfing, something with a bit more pulled in tail will help.
Right. So I dropped down from the 510 down to a 5.8.
Yeah.
And that's in my money zone. So I know that my zone is around that 35, 36 litre range.
Yeah.
And so by bringing the length down, I got into the volume range, but I'm finding that at 5.8, it's a little hard to paddle still. You know, like if I have a board that's 6.2 and it's 35 litres, I find that easier to paddle the board than it being at 5.8 and 35 litres. So that's why I probably want to stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite suit me.
Yeah, I find that if you're riding shorter boards, you almost want a little bit more volume just for paddling, but then you can paddle a longer rail line board with a bit less volume. I don't know if it like spears through the water or I don't know. I just feel like it's a bit easier to paddle.
Yeah.
But same thing, maneuverability wise, you want to turn more.
Yeah.
You're saying?
Yeah. So I've been working on, because I'm very intermediate. I would say like I'm lower to mid intermediate.
Yeah.
I can read the waves. I can paddle out just fine, unless it's absolutely thumping and I like get too tired. But usually I can paddle out just fine. I can read the waves. I can manage the lineup. I get plenty of waves in a session.
Yeah.
I can paddle in. My pop-up's okay. It's fast enough
Yeah.
to take a beachy or, sometimes a bit more of a critical drop. And then really it's all about, I'm trying to work on my turns. So I want to get up in the lip and I want to hit it. I want to pull my bottom turn out and pull a roundhouse cutback. I've only just learned how to pull them all the way back to the foam and then go again. And so essentially I want a new board that's going to help me to surf the way that I want to.
Yeah. So you want to start turning more.
Yes.
Having something that's going to progress your surfing.
Yes.
Yeah. So the current board you're on, it's fairly flat too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Sweet. Well,
Yeah.
from what you said, I reckon we go a chunky toe.
Yeah.
It's same thing. I've got one here, not quite in the size I'd recommend for you, but it's got still got a little bit of width around the top half.
Yeah.
But then it's still quite pulled in the tail.
Yeah. So the width in the top half, tell me why
So-
I want that. Because
So-
my Tomo board just cuts off like this, right?
Yeah.
So it's wide all the way. So tell me about.
So basically, you want a little bit of area under your chest. So that's
Okay.
going to help with paddling.
Okay.
But then you got a little bit more nose rocker,
Yeah.
so that's going to help with not nose diving. It's also going to help with cutting through on cutbacks.
Okay, so when you say not nose diving, you mean like on the takeoff?
Yeah.
Okay,
on
so a
the
little more
takeoff.
critical. You don't want to bog the nose.
Yeah.
And,
So
okay.
having that longer nose there instead of the chopped off one, you
Yep.
just got a bit more that's going to glide into the wave.
Yeah.
It's only the initial on the takeoff, and then basically that's not in the water again. But
Okay.
it's just going to help you with that.
Yep.
And then also too, with the tail being more pulled in and not as wide,
Yep.
it's going to help you turn in the pocket and
Okay.
help your surfing progress.
Okay.
Same thing, you think about the curvature of a wave
Yeah.
and trying to fit a more squarer thing in. It's not going to turn, it's going to want to go out.
Yeah.
Further out on the face
Oh.
and not being able to go up and down. So the more
Right.
curvature in the tail,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to turn on a tighter radius.
Yeah.
So that'll
Gotcha.
help you with cutbacks,
All right.
snaps.
Other than the width, does the shape of the tail matter too much or not too much?
Not as much.
Okay.
You'll get a bit more like pivot off a swallow, but
Okay.
it's not going to matter too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more so, what plays a bigger part is how much area is in that tail.
Gotcha.
So obviously wider tail, you're going to be going faster
Yep.
and going down the line faster, but turning is going to be harder.
So with my hand on this rail, what I noticed about the 510 that I was riding is that it was a bit too boxy in the rail
Yep.
for me, and I found that I wanted a bit more responsiveness
Yep.
than I was getting. The 5.8, it gives me that because I feel like the rails, and this feels like that. So what type of rail are we working with?
It's just like a sort of medium rail, but
Okay.
it's nice and soft on the bottom edge, especially under the front foot.
Yeah.
So that's going to help with when you're doing a turn, the water is wrapping and sort of gripping to hold the board in there, so
Okay.
you're not going to be sliding out.
Not sliding. Yeah, okay. So it is having like a medium rail, is that like compared to like a really refined rail, what's the difference?
A refined rail is going to be like really responsive, but it's going to be that you got to be in the perfect sweet spot to make it work.
So it's less forgiving.
It's less forgiving.
Okay,
yeah.
so because I'm intermediate and only just learning my turns, I need something a little more forgiving
A little bit more forgiving, but you don't want to go too boxy.
because I'm finding that's holding me back.
Because then it's going to be that it's too boxy and it's going to be too harder
Right.
to like get the board on edge.
Yeah,
to,
okay.
To do your turns.
All right, and so for these sunny coast waves that we're on, like, is there anything special underneath that I need to know about?
So basically, your board, this one, the chunky toe, it runs a single concave under the chest. So nice entry roll first to single concave. So that's
Yep.
going to help generate speed.
Okay.
Then it goes
On
to
the paddle or even when you're up?
on the paddle and when you're up, when
Okay.
you're on that front foot,
Yep.
sort of taking off and going through your turns. It's going to help
Yeah.
suck the water in here.
Okay.
Then it goes into a double concave with V.
Okay.
Just a slight V.
Yep.
So that's going to happen is once you turn from rail to rail, the water's going to come through here, and then when you're turning, it's going to go off the side and shoot out here, which is
Right.
going to help you keep your speed
Yeah.
and help turn. If it's a single concave the whole way, sometimes it'll help you go faster in a straight line, but as soon as you want to turn, the water almost gets sucked in and
like it resists you a little bit.
yeah. So
Okay.
this is really easy for giving sort of bottom contours
Yep.
to help you turn easy.
Yeah, brilliant. And I noticed that 3 fin boxes, so it's meant to be ridden as a thruster.
Yes, this
Or-
one is a thruster.
Does this work as a twin plus trailer?
Yes, you can also.
Okay.
It's designed as a thruster, but we've had plenty of people ride it as a twin and trailer, just
Yep.
for a bit of a different feel. So
Yeah.
it's basically come down to what feel you like with your surfing.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
All
So
right.
have a play with it.
So then if I'm gonna match a pair of fins to my board, what do you reckon? Do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, for the waves, you're going to be surfing, especially on the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
I recommend like a neutral fin. So
Okay.
something that's not too raked back and then not too upright, because
Okay.
you're going to be surfing a mixture of points, beachies,
Yep.
fat waves, hollow waves. So I kind of like a neutral fin.
Yeah.
And then it's just getting one that suits your size. Obviously, your size for a chunky toe would be like the 6.0 chunky toe.
Okay.
Comes in at 36 litres.
Yep.
I think that'll be perfect for you.
Yep.
And fin-wise, same thing. I'd probably go a large fin
Large
for
fin
your size.
because of my weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, brilliant. Well, 6-0 sounds about right.
Yeah, we got one out the back, so
Oh,
we'll go get it sorted for you.
let's do that.
Ready to go.
Look at that.